Let's go through LeetCode 380, insert, delete, get random, or one. And for this question, it gives us, let us to design a class random set. And it need to support insert, remove, and get random in O1 time complexity. And the thing is that if we insert a value, if we already have the value inserted before, it will return false. That means it does not allow duplicates. And if does not exist, then we add this value to our class or our data structure. Remove is do the same. First it will check if the value already exists or not. If it doesn't exist, it return false. And if it exists, then it return this kind of will remove this value from this class, this data structure, and return true. GetRandom is that it will use some kind of get randomly get the values we already inserted. So we should have some kind of random object, and based on the size to randomly pick up one of the items. So in order to get insert and remove to be O1 time complexity, we know we can think about several data structures. For example, set support O1 time complexity and remove O1 time complexity. But to get random, we may have some way to do those kind of iterators. It's not that easy. So what we think about for this question is that we can use two, if we use a list, right? List the insert can be O1, right? But the thing is that we need to have O1 time complexity to check whether it's already inserted or not, right? But if we don't use some other data structure, we check whether in the list it will be O(n) time complexity. So what we're thinking about that we can have something like a list to store the data and a map to store the index. As we know, there is no duplicates, right? Because for this kind of Boolean, it will guarantee there is no duplicates. So we can have the map, use a map key as a value in a map value to be this kind of var index in the list. And so before we insert, we just check map. If it already exists, we don't need to insert again, return false. And otherwise, we insert. So the insert have two steps. One is add the value to the end of the list, and another is after the add a map entry. And for remove, what we do is that we'll check if the map contains this value or not, right? If it doesn't, return false. Otherwise, what we do is that we need get the last element from the list, and we also from this value find the index in the list. So we do a swap, and after we do the swap, we update the map about this kind of value. Update the map up to because we swap the last element of the list with the value index, right? So what we do is that we move this kind of value to here, right? And so what we do is that we need to update the map for this last value to this index. And also we remove the map about the last this kind of value and index, right? Make sure we remove the map index of the map at the end And also we remove the last element of the list before we do the update, right? Because these two elements may be the same, right? Because this kind of value can be the last element. And so we put remove this kind of value to be swap after the swap. So let's begin to write code for this. Actually, we need to have a list, right? List integer list equals. Let's put that in the constructor, and also we need to have the map. And we know in order to get a random, we need to have a random instance, right? So we'll have list equals new array list, and our map equals new hash map, and we'll have random equals new random. So for insert, we are first check if map contains key this value, then we cannot insert return false. Otherwise, we need to have list add this value, right? And also we should map add this entry, put this value list get list dot size minus one, right? And return true. And for the remove is that we first check, right? If map doesn't contain key value, right? That means we cannot remove return false, right? And else, let's get this kind of index equals map get value, right? So it is possible this kind of index to be is the last one, right? Equals this kind of list dot size minus one, right? So if in this case, what we need to do, we don't need to do anything else. We just remove the last element and also remove the entry from the map, right? But the thing is that we need to in this case, right? If they are not different, if they are not the same, right? We should get the last element and do a swap, right? So what we do is that we'll have list. Let's have last equals list get list size minus one, right? And we'll have map. Let's set list set index to be last, and map put last as index, right? And then we remove the last element from the list and also remove the entry of the value, right, from map. So we'll list remove list of size minus one and map remove this value, right? So if we write these two lines after these two put, right? This will include the two cases. The index of this value is last index, or it's a different index, right? Then return true. And for this one, it will be simple return list get random get int next, right? get dot next integer, next int list dot slice. We can also convert this to Python, right? For Python, we need to have list, right? Self dot list plus this, and we should have map, right? Self dot map equals empty map, and we need to have a random variable, right? Self dot random equals random dot random. So for insert, we'll first check if value in self dot map, right? Then return false, and we'll have a self dot list append this value, right? And also we should have self dot map. Yes, we'll add this kind of value equals length self dot list -1, right? And return true. And for the remove, let's first check the map, right? If value not in self dot map, we should return false, right? And we need to have get this index out equals map self dot map value. And let's have a last equals self dot list. We can use -1, right? You don't need to have the length -1. And we'll have first is that we'll move the last element to the place of the element, right, of the values index, right? So what we do is that we'll have self dot list index equals last, and self dot map last equals index, and then we remove the last element is self dot list top, and delete self map dot value, right? And in this case, we return true. And for this kind of random function, Python is to return self dot list self dot random rd, this variable, and we use something called random int. Okay, random int. We should have from 0 to length self dot list -1, right? Line 10.